Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our very first Windows replacement webinar of the 2022 season. My name is Hannah Houston, and I am the marketing manager here with Castle. Today, we are joined with Loren, our owner, and special projects manager, Brent. Today, this session is recorded. We'll be taking live questions at the end. Excuse me. So please be sure to submit your questions in the comments, and we'll do our best to answer every single one of them. I'm going to turn it over to Loren and Brent and get this thing started.
Wonderful. I'm Loren Schirber. I'm the owner here at Castle Building and Remodeling. My father, Marty, started the company in 1977, and I joined in 2003 and bought the company in 2008. And Castle is really a design, build, remodeling company that specializes in older homes. And so really like 95% of our work is on houses built before 1960, which kind of puts us in Minneapolis and St. Paul primarily. So we work on a lot of older houses. We've got some great designers. Our showrooms are really unique. As you can see behind us, set up for older houses, coming in and everything with the designer here. We're unique in that we do a really detailed line item estimate. And then we've got some warranties and guarantees that go above and beyond our competition, hold ourselves to a higher standard. So that's a little bit about Castle. I hope you check out our website and find out more. I'm also going to tell you a little bit about our partnership with Marvin Windows. Starting last year, we got certified as a Marvin authorized replacement contractor. Really, Castle's used Marvin Windows for decades since my dad started the company, but this partnership allowed us to get more training and do a little more marketing and advertising together and really help grow our window install business with our special projects division, Brent. And we just feel like it's a really great partnership because Marvin's got great products that are high quality. They stand behind their work. They're Minnesota made. Lots of variety and choices, customization, custom sizes. So it really fits well with older houses and the homeowners we serve. So they're all about helping people live better and be more comfortable, and that's a lot about window replacement. Is all about just making your house more comfortable and function better. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about Castle and our Marvin partnership and the history there. And I'm going to turn it over to Brent now to introduce our special projects division and tell you a little bit more about what they do.
Yeah, so it used to be small projects, and we still like small projects if they're a fit for us and you. But we changed it to special projects. There's a lot of, we're a design build company, but there's a lot of projects that come in that don't really take any design. I'm talking to somebody right now about putting a sliding glass door in their garage, so that something they want to do to that space. And but really what special projects is it's anything that we can do with our in-house labor. On a smaller project, sometimes, if there's too many subs involved, we can't really add any value. You can just call an electrician if it's an electrical problem. But we have carpenters, really good ones on staff. And if we can do it in-house, it doesn't take any design necessarily, then that's what falls into the special projects category for us. And when we thought about how to grow this, Windows was one of the things that we talked about, and so here we are.
We do a lot of framing, demolition, trim, millwork, install doors, the windows, decks, porches. Some of those things take some design, but a high heavy design like a kitchen or bath does. Yeah, so that's kind of an overview on Castle and our special projects division. And
Thanks, guys. So let's get started with our first question of the day. When is it time for a window replacement?
I was thinking about this question before we started, and I looked at Laura and I said, I don't think anyone's ever had to ask me if they need new windows. But if you do have a question, the things are obvious. If you've got a single pane window in your house, technology's come a long way, and especially on these older homes, we'll see it in the video pretty soon where we just replace some single pane windows with nice double pane, so the wind's coming through. The other thing is, you know, so the old houses with single pane windows, you pretty much already know that you need windows, and those are good to replace at any time. The other thing is, you know, there was a big boom in the 80s, a building boom, and they put a lot of very inexpensive vinyl windows in, and you know, now it's 30 years later, and those vinyl windows, you know, that they don't open very good anymore, and you can feel the draft through them because they've warped from the elements and stuff like that. So the indicators are, you know, pretty clear. Like I said, you probably already know if you need windows before I try to help you figure that out.
Sometimes it's because the windows have been painted shut and they don't operate or open. Other times it's, you know, that they're just really drafty and leaky, and your house feels cold all the time. So sometimes it's about comfort and just making your rooms feel more comfortable and having less warm air leak out and cold air leak in. So,
Yeah.
So you guys mentioned a few different types of windows. Can you tell us what are the common types of windows that our Twin City homes are going to see?
Sure. Well, like I mentioned, we work on houses built before 1960 mostly. And so what you'll see behind us here is a double hung window that's got an upper and a lower sash that both operate up and down. So that's what we see about 90% of the time. There are times that we're adding a window in a basement, and that's the egress window. And so you'll see a casement like behind Brent here that cranks out where the whole thing opens and operates. So anytime you've got a bedroom that isn't grandfathered in, you'll need to get egress, and that means there's a certain 5.7 square feet of openable space that a fireman can get through with the pack on. So we do a lot of double hungs. Casements would probably be second. Like I mentioned, we'll put in some egress windows. You know, really anything, picture windows, bay windows, bow windows, curtain windows. We do wood, we do vinyl. And so, you know, really that pretty much any kind of window. There's some, you know, older school, like in-swinging, French in-swing that we run into and have to kind of deal with. And so, yeah, really any kind of windows in those older houses or newer even we can handle. So.
Before we jump over to our video of a live install, we had a question from the audience. So you guys up for a question real quick?
Yeah.
Susan over on YouTube wants to know, are there special challenges with windows in stucco homes specifically?
I didn't hear the question.
Stucco homes are specific challenges.
Yeah, you know, any other kind of siding, we can pull it back and put it back. With stucco, there are some challenges, but we know what they are. And really what it boils down to is we sort of have to measure from the outside and get what's called a masonry opening. And then we build the window in from there. You know, if it's a rough opening and you've got, you know, vinyl siding or something like that, that data can be manipulated better than you just can't move concrete. You know, you've got to make the window fit in there.
And I'd say you'll see our video coming up in that house. I believe this stucco. That's an insert type window where we don't have to affect the exterior trim and the interior trim. And so in that case, it's fine. You know, we do run into a lot of situations where we need to raise windows higher in the kitchen, and there are some techniques where you can put in a window box or patch the stucco. And so, you know, the biggest thing with stucco patches is you only notice them when they're bad. So everybody thinks, oh, stucco patches are all noticeable, they're bad. But you really don't notice it if they're done well. And so with a good stucco patch, it's enough time for it to cure and match. You can close up a hole or fill in a gap if you have to change the size of the window opening. So we can match trim details, and it's all doable, but it is a lot easier if you do a replacement window to work with an existing frame.
That's a really good question, though. It's one of the first things I ask people if I can't see their house when I'm talking to them on the phone if they have stucco.
Thank you, Susan, for that question. I think that's a really great lead-in to our video. We have a window install happening in Minneapolis that we wanted to share with you all today. So without further ado, let's get that started.
Homeowners often look right through problem windows until they notice drafts or that the window just doesn't open anymore. The average window typically lasts about 30 to 50 years. Here we hope to prepare you for replacement of your windows. We will go over some window terminology and also show the steps involved with an insert window replacement. Perhaps it will inspire you to upgrade your windows and the comfort of your home. Let's start by identifying some basic parts of a window. On the outside, you will find the header, trim, sill, and storm windows. The interior parts of the window include the panes, window stops, rail, lift, sash, sash lock, stiles, trim, stool, and apron. The windows shown are an example of a double hung window, which are very common in homes built prior to 1960. Here we're showing the installation of an insert window, also known as a pocket window. Insert windows are an excellent choice for replacing double hung and glider windows. They are highly customizable to match your home. They are also more cost efficient and do not disrupt the existing window frame, trim, or siding that a full frame window install would. However, full frame windows are necessary when adding a new window, changing the window type, such as a crank out casement, or if the existing window is too far deteriorated. In this installation, the storm windows are removed from the exterior, the stop is removed, the old sash, hardware, and cords with counterweights are removed. This is a great choice when your existing window frames are structurally sound and you want to preserve existing interior and exterior trim. In this example, Castle completed a stain match and pre-finished the new windows prior to arrival for install. Many window replacement projects are undertaken because of drafty, cold windows. Properly insulating and sealing a new window is as important as choosing a quality window. The two most common insulation materials are fiberglass and spray foam insulation. Ensuring your windows are well insulated will keep your home comfortable year-round and be easier on your energy bills. Next, the insert window can be set in the opening. Shims are then used to ensure the window is centered in the opening and to secure the window in place. Once the window is centered, level, and plumb, it can be screwed in place. Once the new window has been installed, we apply a final seal and weather stripping. Then, the window stop can be installed or reinstalled. In the spring, Castle will be back to touch up the paint where the storm windows were removed. The benefit of installing insert window replacements is a more comfortable home, from the ease of operation, tilt in cleaning, to improved energy efficiency. Replacing windows in an older home takes planning. Not every window manufacturer is able to make custom-sized windows that match the aesthetics of your older home, and not every installer is equipped to match or maintain the details of your home. Castle has the skilled team to help with your next window project and to make your home your castle.
Wonderful. While we're waiting for more questions and then online, we do have a few questions that came through our pre-event survey through our newsletter. If you are not part of our newsletter, we encourage you to sign up. We share a lot of tips and remodeling how-tos, do's and don'ts, projects, and things like that. Without further ado, our first question is, what is the difference between grid and no grid windows? What are the benefits of each?
Well, in a lot of ways, it's really a stylistic choice. We have a lot of people that have these old homes that want to keep that classic look. And so their old windows had grids, they want them. It is to divide light too, so you can think of it the same way as a pergola, at different times of the day. It can function for that, but really it's more of a stylistic thing.
I agree. It's you're gonna see through the age of different homes, different styles that were popular, and so my 1950s house has one line that divides across to give you a more linear look, So older houses than that might have six panes on top, over six or six over one, and so that's kind of the terminology they use is how many panes over how many panes, so six over six or six over one. It's mostly style, like Brent said. There are some cleaning differences and different choices or upgrades depending on how authentic you want to be. Like you can have actual true divided light with wood panes and a separate piece of thermal pane glass between each section, and that adds a lot of cost and gets you a more historically accurate look, but it makes it very clean and watch. Whereas this example has grids between the glass, so you can still just wash the pane of glass without working around grids. Brent gave an example before we started that said that works great until you get to, I'll let you tell it.
The different, I don't know if I remember what you said, but
The two colors, interior.
oh, right, yeah, so the ones on the inside work great if both sides of the window are the same color. The simulated divided light, or that has them on the outside of the window, are really all you can do when it's two different colors inside and out. So, and then, it's true to, it's a whole thing. It is an add-on too. So if, for budgetary concerns, if you're not concerned about the grids, it's a good way to knock a few bucks off the cost of the windows.
Mm-hmm. That was really my sarcastic answer of what's the difference. $75.
Yeah, it's about
Yeah.
Okay. Heidi over on Facebook has a question to follow up with that. She says, what can I expect to pay for double hung window inserts that are 26 by 52?
Well, there's a lot of variables, but I think because I talk about it a lot, somewhere between $600 and $1,000, maybe installed, everything done. I probably don't even know if that's a good thing to say, but that kind of gets in the ballpark.
And then I guess the big variables come down to the material that's selected and finishing of those windows. So we showed in the video a stain match. So sometimes owners paint their own windows. Sometimes we paint the windows. And you can add several $100 in staining or finishing costs per window as well on top of that. So those kind of variables make a difference, and then also just the way the grids or the hardware, certain colors or add-ons or add some costs. But it comes down to the style and then how much finishing is needed.
Some of the stuff has to be on your window, but there are some choices that you can make along the way, just like any selection that you make for anything in your house.
And Castle's it's pretty straightforward and open book. We try to share example prices on our website. The prices have been going up pretty fast recently, so we've had trouble keeping up with those price increases and publishing those. But generally, we're not buy 3 get 1 free or 20% off this week. We try to have everyday consistent pricing.
There's an economy to scale too, right? I mean, if you get one window, there's sort of overhead and project management costs associated with that. So if you get 3 windows, or if you get, I believe the house was just on the video, had 17 windows, then all of a sudden you're sort of maximizing your non-window dollar, I guess is the way to say it.
Yeah, and you're kind of maximizing or minimizing the disruptive amount of times that people are going to be in your house and tearing apart your house and having a dumpster outside. And so there is some economies of just planning as many windows as possible at the same time.
So you kind of touched on it. I was just about to ask you guys, is it more economical to replace as needed, or do you guys recommend that customers replace all the windows at one time?
If it is economical, there may be a 10 to 15% savings by having a larger window order. One one set of dumpsters, one set of project management fees, one permit. There's some return on enjoyment or less disruption to your life as well. That being said, there are times where people say, we're just not going to do the kitchen for another 5 years, and so we're going to replace all the windows on our main floor, but not the kitchen, and that makes complete sense because they might move it around or they might get.
Another common one is upstairs, or they do the downstairs now and do the upstairs later. Job I went to the other day, they got a remodeling job and they had this nice new window, and then they started looking around at the other windows, and so we want the rest of our windows to look like this window.
So that is pretty common, and it's pretty common where the main floor windows will be a nice stained wood, and the upstairs windows will be painted wood, and so they do all upstairs ones at once. And a couple of years later, come back and do the main floor. So that's pretty common, but there is some economy, 10% savings of doing more at once. Okay.
And if you want to learn more about our project costs, you can see down below, we have a web page on our website that goes into depth on many of our projects and the different costs. That's castlebree.com/project costs. So we encourage you to check that out. We have one more question from the audience. This was sent in through a newsletter. What are our options for sound abatement?
That's a good question. So we do work near the airport a lot and run into houses in the airport zone. And so there are slightly more expensive windows that meet those sound qualifications that we can get through specialty suppliers. And so we have those available, and then also like very energy efficient windows, like triple pane windows available as well. So there's a few options, but you can generally keep similar look, style.
Yeah, you can, and I think we have a dancing class above us. I didn't hear the question, but the Minneapolis Airports Commission is the people that all of that's under their purview. So that's a good resource, if you're in that zone.
Yeah, so it's possible. I would say another main benefit of good windows is sound abatement. I live near train tracks, and when we got new windows, it was a lot quieter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wonderful. So if somebody was ready to get their project started, how would they start a window replacement project with Castle?
So you can go to our webpage, and there's a special projects tab, and you schedule a phone, an introductory phone call with me. I usually get a hold of you prior to that, send you an email and have you send me a couple of pictures. We kind of talk about it on the phone. You can be as engaged as you want. You can, people give me entire lists of things that they've already specifically worked on themselves, or you can just call me and tell me I need some windows. And then we do a budget estimate. Like Loren said, they're very detailed, and we spell everything out very clearly. And if you want to move forward, we have what's called the design and planning phase. And so then we really get down, we've been at the 50-foot view, now we're at the 10-foot view, and we'll do that, and we present you with final pricing, or as some like to say, a product that you want to buy that works for us too. Then we get down to the 2-foot view, and the project manager comes out there if there's any trade partners. And so, the old measure twice, cut once thing. By the time that we get a down payment and order your windows, we've been to your house 3 different times. We've talked about all the trim. We've given you some options if there are any. And and I'd say it's probably a 1 to 3 month process for windows. It can go a little shorter if things are real simple, but it does take a little bit of time for all these people to look at this job and wrap their hand around it and make sure that when we get there, it's going to be up to Castle standards and that it's going to be done right the first time.
Right now, we do say plan ahead. We are running into some supply chain disruptions where lead times, once we sign that contract, measured 3 times and place that over 12 to 20 weeks or even longer on some of the different lines. And so for a while, there was 26-week lead times on windows, half a year before we could get the windows. So we might sign a contract and say, okay, we'll be back in 4 months to install these, which is not what anybody wants to hear, but it's the reality of the supply chain and the demand versus labor available in the factories right now.
The Marvin, we stay pretty well in touch with all of our vendors at this point on market trends and stuff like that. The Marvin has 3 lines: Essential, Elevate, and Signature. And the Essential and Elevate lines have been moving a little faster. It was at 8 weeks, and then it was at 12, and then the other day I saw it back at 10. You know, it just varies. At the time that we are having that conversation with you specifically, you know, we can be a lot more specific. But usually the delivery of the windows drives when we can start your job.
And I guess a good point there is that really there's no, like you said, you have the windows come out and go in the same day. So there isn't a demolition and then holding up your windows, dark house for X amount of time. So
it's out and in, out and in, out and in.
Yeah, windows. So in that sense, it's fast. And I would add one more thing. I think another thing that makes Castle unique is that you know, a lot of window companies like just do windows, and we're pretty flexible in that we'll fix rotten wood, we'll do like carpentry, we'll do framing, put in headers, you know, shutters, doors, storm windows, you know, a whole painting pretty much.
It's funny because I get this request an incredible lot. You know, I went to the Glensheen Mansion and checked that out, and the tour guide there was talking about how people use space differently now than they did 100 years ago. And so a really common ask is to take out a window in a dining room because you can't get to the porch with your stuff to barbecue. So we've taken out a lot of windows and put in doors, kind of reimagined those spaces as a common request for me.
New back door instead of side door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. We don't have any more questions that have come in today. I wanted to note that our next session will be on May 14th, and we will be joined with Dale from Marvin. He is one of the reps that we work with, so we're excited to have a lively conversation with him and to continue our conversation about window replacements. We will be sharing a post-event survey both in the comments of this live stream, through our newsletter, and future social media posts. If you did watch, we encourage you to take the survey so we can continue to learn and grow and change our conversation to meet your needs as a homeowner. Loren and Brent, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us about windows. This is your opportunity to have any last minute statements. And we just had a question come in. We're going to answer this question and then we'll wrap things up. Susan wants to know, how far from Minneapolis and St. Paul will you work? Are you in the North Metro?
So the range, the outside range is 25 miles, I think, from our office, which is, you know, right in South Minneapolis here. There can be some variables to that, but I think that's the short answer.
Yeah, it takes us well into the suburbs, and those suburbs are covered for sure now.
And I should point out that we do have 4 showrooms. Loren and Brent are currently at our Longfellow neighborhood showroom. We also have one in Northeast, in South on Diamond Lake, and in St. Paul. Our warehouse is also located in Minneapolis. So we cover both cities quite well.
And one thing I mentioned at the Longfellow showroom here, we were talking about process, and part of that process is to be able to come in and touch and feel and see these window samples. We've got a room here that's got decking and tech railings and all the things that Brent does a lot, storm windows and storm doors and different options for railings and things like that. So there is a showroom. It's meant to be a close to home option for making selections. Brent simplified a little bit the window selection process, because once you do get into like what kind of hardware do you want, what color screen options, and interior and exterior color options, there's a lot of samples you need to grab and things you need to take home and compare, and stain match process. And so there's just a lot of details to plan up front.
And sometimes things you're not thinking about when I get there. Hopefully, if I'm doing my best work, we talk about it. One of the common things on full replacement windows is all the trim on the inside and the outside has to come off and be replaced. And sometimes it can be reused, but that's it's kind of iffy. But if people are, one client recently, they ultimately decided they didn't like their trim, and so we got trim for where they're going with their overall house. They weren't going to have us retrim the whole house right now, but we retrimmed the new windows in the trim that they want, not the trim that they have on the other side of the room. So there is a process of us determining all of that. Oftentimes clients are pretty well have thought it through. I think I said this before, that they've thought it through before I get there. And other times we have to kind of help them through that. And we're perfectly willing and capable of doing that.
Yeah, check out our next class, because we'll talk more about full frame replacements in that class.
Yeah.
Yes, we definitely will. Well, we just want to say thank you one more time to everybody for coming, watching, asking these great questions. And we hope that you'll join us for our next class in May. Thank you again. I'm Hannah from Castle, Brent, and Loren, and we hope you have a great Saturday.